Disney has been getting slammed in recent days for this viral clip that's been going around. This is coming from the Hollywood Reporter. Viral Disney clip sparks ridicule for something Hollywood has done for years. A scene from Prom Pack shows obviously fake extras sitting next to human background actors. And I have that clip pulled up on Twitter over here. Here, I'll full screen this. And this is kind of a blink and you'll miss it sort of moment, but just pay attention. Yeah, so did you see that? Look at these extras here. I'll just kind of go through it slowly. So, yeah, that's what people are talking about, just how obviously fake these extras are. And people are like the original account that I got this tweet from. Notice it's a whole row of AI actors. Yikes. Disney is insane, and just more reason why the AMPTP needs to ditch this plan to replace background actors with AI. The uncanny valley will always make your show film look like a hot garbage and age like milk. I don't like this argument that people say it doesn't look good, because yeah, obviously CG with like this looks terrible, but I mean, this almost like grants the premise that like if it looked better, like if you can make the CG characters look realistic, then it's okay. But I mean, because I don't agree that there's always going to be an uncanny valley. I mean, I think right now there is, but I mean, especially when it comes to background actors, technology will improve, and it will get to a point where you can't distinguish it. So I think that should be the argument, not that you're taking work away from people, not that it looks like crap, even though that's easy to latch onto. And obviously this is an account that supports SAG-AFTRA. I mean, they literally have it in their name right here. But anyway, just jumping down to this article from the Hollywood Reporter, because this isn't really the AI replacement that they're talking about. If you scroll down here, it struck a chord amid the SAG-AFTRA strike that has shut down Hollywood, and is one of the key issues is the worry that an actor's likeness could be recreated digitally without adequate procurement of consent and compensation. And it says how background actors, how they could be getting paid for 5 days worth of work to do like a crowd stuff instead, or getting paid for 1 day to get scanned and digitally replicated. But the Hollywood Reporter, according to this article, has learned that the characters in the shot were not scanned actors driven by AI, but rather were created by other VFX techniques. In other words, these digital extras involved the work of CG artists. Reps for Disney did not respond to a request for comment. And that's one thing people don't seem to, they're kind of ignoring when it comes to this debate on CG actors, or especially with background actors and extras, because they're saying like it's taking work away from people. And I grant the premise that is happening. I mean, at the same time, it is employing VFX artists, but I mean, it is taking the work away from extras, and I can sympathize with that. But at the same time, I mean, we've seen this for years. And like the article from the Hollywood Reporter said, I mean, this isn't a new technique. I mean, these are digital creations, because newsflash, they didn't have thousands of horsemen for this scene in The Return of the King. I mean, I love this movie, but I mean, even then, like, yeah, you can tell it's like these aren't real, especially when you have a still like this with higher resolution. It's becoming more and more obvious that this is fake. But either then, that's beside the point, because when you're watching a movie, you don't necessarily care because it's just a cool scene, versus something like this. This is the call sheet for people who don't know. When you're shooting a scene in a movie, you'll have like a call sheet that kind of like, it's kind of lays out what you need in order to film the scene for that day. This is for the movie Gandhi, set, exterior, Gandhi's funeral. If you scroll down to the crowd size that they need for this, this says what they actually need specifically for the crowd in the movie. And look at right here, 250,000 specially invited guests. So people that they kind of like extras, people that they hired on to do this. And if you look at the scene, this is the scene right here. And this is another angle of it. So in total, if you look at the call sheet, 50,000 here, 30,000 here, 3,000, 1,000, 7,500. So yeah, you have like a few 100,000 extras for this scene right here. And it's like, yeah, that's impressive, the fact that they're able to do this. And you have significantly less here. I mean, I forget what they were saying, but probably like 20,000 or whatever here for this scene. But these are also horsemen. But even then, if it was just a crowd of 20,000, it's like, they couldn't get that, but they got a few 100,000 here. So it's like, oh, that's taking work away. Wrong. Yeah. So that's taking work away from people here. It's like, well, yeah, it is. But I mean, at the same time, like, let's say you did this nowadays and it's like, yeah, we had a crowd and we a few 100,000 for this scene that lasted a couple minutes. Like, all right, well, that's cool. Did you need to do that though? I mean, me personally, it's like, well, you could easily CG that, and like the effect on the viewer is essentially the same. So what's the point of having a huge crowd like that other than it's a flex from the filmmakers that they were able to do this? I mean, yeah, it's impressive when you see stuff like that. I mean, I love it when you can get good practical effects, but I'm always asking though, it's like, well, was the effort in doing it practically worth it for the viewer in the long run? I mean, the story is first and foremost the most important aspect of a movie and TV show. And if you're just trying to spend extra money on unnecessary things that has no effect on the viewer just for the fact that the filmmaker wants to brag that they did it, it's like, in my opinion, that kind of takes it away. Now, this isn't to say CG is better than practical. It's all a matter of how it's going. And something like this, yeah, they should have done it practical, in my opinion. I think this is the result of poor planning, and that's why they were kind of scrambling to fill. They probably were scrambling to fill in the gaps here in the crowd, because I'm assuming they filmed these actors in a green screen, in front of a green screen, because they're more principled actors, and then they get the extras and just kind of film that at some point. And then when they combine the footage together, they realize like, oh wait, there's this big gap right here. So let's just try to fill them now because we have a deadline. We don't have time to bring in people or anything like that. So let's just shoot it, or let's just throw some digital assets that we already have in the library in there. And that's it. And if anything, I think that's the dunk on Disney that people are really, or people should be mocking Disney for doing that. Just the fact that they had such poor planning. They have a bad reputation of trying to fix everything in post and just kind of like winging it. And that's not a good way to tell stories. And that's what you get, stuff like this, where it's just like trying to duct tape stuff together in order to actually make it work. And that's what people should criticize Disney about, not necessarily the use of AI or even digital assets. Now, I'm completely sympathetic to some of these actors' complaints that they don't want to be scanned and just basically used as a CG model for people to use in their scene. However, because like, yeah, I mean, it sucks if you're brought in for a day just to be scanned and then paid for a day as an extra when you're being scanned and used for something else that would take like a week's worth of shooting. It's like, yeah, you should be paid, I think, a minimum of like what you would be paid as an extra for that sort of situation. And your likeness can only be used on that particular production. I understand if they want that in the contracts, and I think it should be, but the terminology of saying like it's AI doing stuff, I don't think that's what people are. That's the hot topic right now, and people are kind of latching onto it, but that's not what the argument people should be focusing on. They should be focusing on just digital likenesses and ultimately just trying to use whatever tools are available to tell a good story. And that could mean, yeah, you're using CG crowds, and that could mean you actually have a more practical crowd. I mean, it really just depends on the situation at hand. But either way, I mean, when something is broken, like what you see here in this, I do believe you should mock it, because when you mock it, then the studios will hopefully take a lesson to learn from that and not do it in the future. But maybe that's just my wishful thinking. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. And if you like this video, make sure you click that like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with the latest news. Thank you.